In 1963, a fighter pilot named Sergeant Stoney Campbell was flying as part of a squadron of 8 fighter jets. Um, that squadron was protecting a B-52 bomber that was carrying nuclear weapons as it flew from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to another Air Force Base. During that flight, there was a UFO event. This UFO event was witnessed by the entire squadron of fighter pilots, as well as the pilots within the B-52 bomber as well. They all claim that a boomerang-shaped craft essentially appeared out of nowhere, hovered within 20 feet above the B-52 bomber for a period of time, and then shot off at impossible speeds and disappeared. All of the fighter pilots and the B-52 bomber pilots have, in debriefs, which are reported in the National Archives, given very similar accounts as to what happened. These are credible veterans. So it's unlikely to be bullshit. They did witness something, and what they witnessed is described. Now, I have gone into the black vaults of the National Archive as well as other government archives to dig out these transcripts, and they are there. There are actual transcripts from 1963 as part of the debriefs from these pilots. However, only part of the story or the debrief has been declassified. There are images. There's an 8-second long piece of footage, and even parts of the debrief themselves are still blacked out in the archives. You can't access them. This was a real UFO event. This is a UFO event that is still partially classified by the US government. What we have now is a 6-minute long interview with Sergeant Stoney Campbell. This interview was with Stephen Greer, where Sergeant Stoney Campbell discusses the event and explains exactly what happened that night in 1963.
I entered the military in '66. My basic training would have been in San Antonio. From there, I went to Altus Air Force Base in Oklahoma. From there to Vietnam, from Vietnam to Greece, and was discharged honorably in Greece and returned back to the States. This was, as you know, 30 years or more ago. This happened in Altus, Oklahoma, on a SAC Air Force Base. I was guarding a B-52.
Could you tell the viewers what a SAC is?
SAC is Strategic Air Command. I was on guard duty guarding a B-52 bomber in the bomber area, which is divided in 2 sections with what we call the hurry house in the middle, and that's where the officers and the flight crew stay on ready if they're on alert to disperse to the planes quickly. And on this would have been like on the summer of 1967 is the closest, sometime in the summer period there. We were on guard duty. There were, I think, like approximately 4 planes on each side. And it would have been at night, probably late, midnight to probably sometime in the morning, between that period of time, when over one of the B-52s, which were armed with nuclear weapons, there appeared a bluish haze, almost in the form of a boomerang or a wing shape. And in this haze, there was a glittery light. We had no idea what this was. And we do know that the SAC teams were called to ready, so they came out to the planes. But prior to that, this just hovered over the plane for a short period of time and then just vanished. We were told later that it was picked up on radar. It wasn't as if you actually saw it glide away. It was like in a wisp, it was gone. It covered most of the wingspan of a B-52. Now, what that would be in feet or meters or anything like that, I have no idea. But it was large. It was large, but it was also very transparent. It was not a solid mass. It was not what you would think of if you think of a UFO, and at that time we had no idea. This was something that actually showed up on radar, and the perimeter guard saw it, and the other people on the other post, because there's one person per B-52 bomber.
Really?
Yes, and there's a red zone around that bomber that you're not allowed anyone in it. So even the guard itself does not go past that red line. So there are other people that saw it. Just above it. Just above it. I'm talking like no more than 20 feet. It was just, I mean, just above eye level. A B-52's high to begin with, but when you looked at it, it was just above it. The alarm in the hurry house must have went off because they came out to the planes.
And what did they do?
They board the planes and they start them up and are ready to taxi to take off whenever notified. There was not a notification. They just started their engines, and then they must have gotten word. We don't hear what's going on in the cockpit, but then they shut down the planes and then they went back in. Or shortly afterwards, after we'd seen it. It had left, and that's when they were dispersed to the planes. There were nuclear weapons, and the SAC base is always ready for that. So,
Those are hot, ready to go. So
yes,
strategic area.
yes. And when they're in that area, that's what they're loaded for. That's why we're guarding them. That's the whole purpose of not allowing anyone near them, because they were armed with nuclear weapons. We had no idea what it was. I still have no idea what it was, other than it was a mist in the shape of a boomerang that had glitter in it. We'd never seen anything like this. Yeah, so it was unusual. It was something that we were mystified by.
So there we have an actual account from a credible war veteran pilot in the US Army, or the US Air Force rather. It's very credible. There's no reason to doubt a single word that Sergeant Stoney Campbell has actually just said. It's very, very credible. He, along with his squadron and the B-52 pilots, witnessed a UFO. And a large part of that story is still classified. And it's classified for a reason. It's because it's true. That's it for that video. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. And as always, please do hit the bell to keep notified of future videos. And also do check us out on other social media channels if you can. We're on Facebook, TikTok, and X. And we will have some more incredible interviews very, very soon.